Okay, let's start on the phones. We have 15-year-old Michelle from San Ramon, California. Hi, Michelle. It's great to have you here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. It's great to have you with us here. This is great.
So I was calling in to ask for any advice that you can give me on how I can convince my friends that Donald Trump is really not as bad as they think he is. And my brother and I come from a very conservative town, but the kids around here are very liberal, and so they have been protesting, and even some of our school administration influenced them to do that, and it's frustrating because we go to school to learn, right? And people have to...
No. Sadly, no. I mean, they may think that's what's happening. They're actually being indoctrinated, Michelle. Sadly, or propagandized rather than being taught things. That may be a fine line. Let me ask you, are they the same age as you, 15, 16, around there?
Yeah, 15, yeah.
Well, what do they think of Trump?
Well, they think he is a sexist, a lying person. They just absolutely hate him. They think very negatively about him. But for Hillary, they absolutely love Hillary. They think she's better than him, and it's a little bit like, it's frustrating.
Well, look, I don't think you're going to be able to change their minds right off the bat because you're not dealing with people who have arrived at what they believe via a logical progression of thought. They're not engaging in thinking, critical thinking. They're simply, I think, regurgitating what they've heard from either their parents, teachers, what they see on social media, whatever's bandied about there. And their emotion is just taken over. And I also think that there's a little peer pressure. They probably think that a majority of people their age think the same things, and they want to be considered, I don't know what the word is, hip, whatever, with that bunch. I think time will take care of some of this as it is revealed that Trump is not what they think. But even at that, depending how deeply propagandized your friends have been, they may never, ever admit to themselves that they've been wrong and that Trump is not what they've been told or who they think he is. The proof of what Hillary Clinton is, I think, a cult figure. I think people that ended up supporting Hillary Clinton didn't care what she was or who she was. It's what she embodied and what the Clinton mystique was as it was passed down from parents to children and so forth. Because logically, none of this makes any sense as you are encountering it. So you're trying to confront all these people with logic. And I would maintain to you that they don't have any where this is concerned. Is it causing you to lose friendships?
Not right now, but I feel like if we talk about it more, it really doesn't end well when we really talk about it. No,
it exacerbates the problem the more you talk about it. Well, how have you tried to convince them that what they think is not correct?
Well, I've tried to tell them that, Hillary is not really as good as the media is portraying her. She also has a lot of faults. Trump has faults also, but
I'll tell you what, our time is dwindling. I have a little bit of an idea for you here. Since Hillary's out of picture right now, and any lingering attachment to Hillary is purely emotional, I think it might be interesting for you, and maybe even helpful, if instead of defending Trump, which you're gonna run into a brick wall there with these people, what you ought to do is get them, challenge them, to see if they can maybe question what they hear in the media, question what they see on the news, question what they see in social media. Instead of arguing with them, try to expose what's wrong about their process. Ask them, well, why do you believe that? Who's telling you this stuff? And then as they give you examples, you will be able to know you're wrong about that. That's not true. And you'll be able to go to various sources to tell them that they're wrong about it. I think maybe try to challenge what they believe are their credible information source. Now, if it's their parents, good luck with that. But that's what I would do. I mean, frankly, Michelle, I only do it as a fun exercise. I don't do it to actually try to change their minds. I've been doing this 30 years. It doesn't happen very much. But look, hang on. I've got to take a break here, and we have not enough time to continue. But don't go away. Back in a second. Fastest 3 hours in media. I have just a couple more thoughts that I want to share with Michelle from San Ramon, California, but we'll have to do that after the break here at the top of the hour, which we will do when we get back. Welcome back, my friends. You're tuned to the most listened to radio talk show in the country. It has been for decades. The Rush Limbaugh program and the Excellence in Broadcasting Network, and we come to you from the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. There are no graduates, and there are no degrees, because the learning never stops. Our telephone number, if you want to be on the program, 800-282-2882, and the email address, lrushbo@eibnet.us. We now go back to Michelle in San Ramon, California. I was a little pressured with time there. I didn't really give you enough time to answer the questions. You're still there, right, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Here's the nut of what I wanted to tell you. I don't think that you are going to succeed in changing their minds. I think the most fun you can have with this, and I think you need to turn this into a fun project. You need to have the attitude here, not of condescension, but understanding that they're misguided and have been ill-educated. Feel sorry for them, because they really deserve some sympathy here. They have been programmed to believe stuff that has them scared to death that isn't true. And you can say that to them. There's no reason to be afraid of anything. The country's going to return to greatness. We're going to have an entirely different return path here to American prominence. But then the way to get to them, if you want to, and I don't think you're going to succeed, but it's worth the effort, is to focus on why they believe what they believe. And it's going to be the media or their parents, maybe to a certain extent teachers. And I would simply get them not on specifics of this campaign or anything, but just as a means of actually doing something smart. Ask them to start challenging and questioning whatever they see in the media about things that they both believe and don't believe. Inspire them to become curious and suspicious and not believing everything that they have been programmed to believe. And get them to focus on who's told them what they believe and where they've seen it, where they've read it, and get them questioning that. Because you can point out to them they are in the minority. You can point out to them that a humongous majority of Americans think the exact opposite way they do. Now, I wanted to tell you a little story, too. And by the way, for the rest of you, there's a new show on Fox News that may be the best show on Fox News. It's hosted by Chatsworth Osborne Jr. Tucker Carlson has the new 7 p.m. show on Fox. And right now, it may be the most interesting and engaging show. I wanted to tell you what I saw there, Michelle. Mm-hmm. You're 15 and you're in high school.
Right.
This guy had a college senior from either Rutgers or Princeton somewhere, I forget which, as his guest last week. And the subject was Trump and immigration. And this guy, this student, Michelle, he knew nothing. It was staggering how ignorant he was, but he didn't know it. He thought he knew everything. And he finally was asked a question. Well, I forget what his name was, but Tucker Carlson said, well, look, do you think that anybody who wants to come into the country should be allowed? He said, yes. Anybody who wants to come to America should be allowed to come to America. That's what America's for. And so there was no matter what Tucker Carlson tried, no matter what logic, the law, no matter what he tried, he could not disabuse this student of the idea that we can't survive as a country doing that, and that a country must have borders, and that a country must determine who gets in and who does not. He thought that was the paramount example of discrimination and bigotry and all of these buzzwords, these people, I'm sure your 15-year-old friends throw them around too, not even really knowing what they mean. So Carlson asked, well, let me ask you this. Do you put locks on your house, on your door?
Yes.
He said, well, yeah. I said, well, why don't you take them off? Why don't you let anybody in your house who wants to come in the house? Well, you can't. A nation state is not the same thing as a house. Why? Aren't you prepared to give anybody that comes to your house food? Why? Aren't you prepared to give them your car? Aren't you prepared? It was stuff that you don't see these people challenged with. That's the kind of thing that I thought has been missing in cable TV for a long time. Actually, don't bring in experts to discuss it. Bring in the idiots and put them on display and actually challenge them with what they believe with simple logic. They will fall apart. Your friends would too if you had the desire to actually interact with them. There's a third thing that's going to happen, Michelle, and that is the passage of time. If Trump succeeds, then Trump will be the change agent. Trump will be who it is that changes their minds. And if Trump succeeds, and they don't change their minds, then it's hopeless. Then they don't want to change their minds, and they don't want to think anything other than negative things. That's another thing, another way you might go after them, is ask, why do you want to be so mad all the time? Why do you want to be so angry? Why do you want to be so suspicious? Why do you want to be so down and down? Why do you want to be so livid? Try shaming them a little bit because, man, whatever you do, don't act like they're experts, and they're not. It might lose you some friendships, but apparently that's happening anyway.
Okay.
Well, you can talk now.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, thank you. I think this really helps me, opened a new way to try to have them think otherwise. And, yeah, so thank you so much.
Well, live your life and be happy and let that be influential too. Let it be infectious. Whatever you do, don't let them take away your happiness. Don't let them provoke you. Be bigger than that. Just walk around, laugh, or smile at it. I know it's Michelle, I've been doing my program here for 29 years, and a large part of it has been trying to convince the very people you've called me about that they're wrong about how they see things. And for everybody I've converted, there are a whole lot more I haven't. But I look at everyone as a success, and I don't define the effort as a failure because it hasn't happened to a majority. I think what the election showed is that we're not outnumbered by these people, that they do remain in the minority. That's what everybody was afraid of going into this election. It's turned out to be that we still have a lot of work to do. It's just an election that's been won. We haven't actually reversed direction yet, but that's yet to come. So I take your question seriously because I know how frustrating it is, and I wish there were a magic bullet, a magic way of instantly changing their minds, because you want them to see things upbeat and positively as you do. You want them to be happy, right?
Right.
And they're not. And so, anyway, let me ask: would you like a brand new iPhone 7 or 7 Plus? Or do your parents let you have a phone? Do you have a phone?
I do not have a phone right now.
Oh, I could be getting in trouble here then. Well, you know what? Ask your parents if you can have a new iPhone. And we'll keep you on hold here while you ask them, Mr. Snerdley, and we'll get a way to get in touch with you.
Okay.
And if you can, then you tell Mr. Snerdley, and then we'll fix you up. He will find out what carrier and all that. Because I don't want to give you a phone if your parents don't want you to have one yet.
Mm-hmm.
I hear some conversation going on in the background.
They said I'm okay with the phone.
Oh, I can give you... Okay, then. Well, let me just ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what iPhones are? Do you know an iPhone 7 versus 7 Plus, the small size versus the big size?
iPhone 7.
But you want the Plus or the 4.7-inch screen or the 5.5-inch?
Oh, the regular one.
4.7-inch.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to put you on hold. Mr. Snerdley, find out what the cell carriers. You'll have to ask your parents what cell phone carrier company you use. And then we'll take care of it and make sure he gets your address, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And stay in touch with us, Michelle, so we can find out how your little project goes here.
Okay. Thank you so much.
That's Michelle from San Ramon in California. And so I'm glad her parents were there. Some parents don't want their kids to have a phone. What are you smirking at in there? What do you mean high school? Did your daughters not have phones when they were in high school? They did. Oh, you can't believe she doesn't have one. Oh, well, there could be any number of reasons. That's why you got to be real careful here. I have to be very, very sensitive. If her parents, for whatever reason, don't want her to have, but they said it's okay now.